Hello, my name is Chloe. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my June book haul. So, I hauled a lot of books in June and only 3 of the books here were hauled before I went on my trip to America. So I flew back with 15 books, and then I did buy some more in the airport, but that was technically July. So all of these are June purchases. They were all for good reasons, which I'll get onto, but I did not need these books. But here we are. Here are 18 books I bought in the month of June. The 3 that I bought before I went on my trip are actually from a box set. So we have Reputation, Infamous, and Trouble by Lex Croucher. These are the YA Regency books, and the blurbs start with Regency just got a little more rebellious. With them being a series, I don't want to spoil anything, but I will read you the blurb of book 1. Abandoned by her parents in favour of a sea view, middle-class Georgiana Ellers has moved to a new town to live with her dreary aunt and uncle. At a particularly dull dinner party, she meets the enigmatic Frances Campbell, a wealthy socialite and enchanting member of the in crowd. Through Frances and her friends, Georgiana is introduced to a new world of wild parties, drunken debauchery, mysterious young men with strangely alluring hands, and the sparkling upper echelons of Regency society. I literally can't read words. High society isn't all it's cracked up to be, and the price of entry might be more than Georgiana is willing to pay. So yeah, all of these books were in the works for £10, so clearly I had to get them. I basically had no choice. Then a book I picked up in a secondhand bookshop in the town next to Coles that I absolutely love, but it's an ARC, so they actually gave it me for free, is People to Follow by Olivia Worley. I have not heard of this, and apparently it came out October 2023, so it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing that I've never heard about this. It just says 10 influencers, 10 secrets, 1 dead body, and I'm pretty much okay with knowing just that amount. I like a reality show. There is a reality show element called In Real Life, forces social media's reigning kings and queens to unplug for 3 weeks and go live without any filters. I love a reality show. This is reality shows with influencers and murder, so what more would we want? I then went to the library in Colestown and they had a library sale. So I picked up all of these books for less than £5. I think they were $4.50 or maybe $5 exactly, but I did get a book for Cole's little brother, so that's not in this set. So let's say $4.50 for all of these books. The first one is Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. I've now read a couple of Kristen Hanna's and I did enjoy the contemporary a lot more than the World War II side of her writing. So this is another mother-daughter's relationship kind of book. I won't read into all of these, otherwise we'll be here forever, but yeah, I wanted to give some more Kristen Hanna a go. We then have a very beat up book, but I just want to read it and enjoy it. We have Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. This is completely destroyed. Even the plain hardback is a little bit destroyed, but I might keep that on its own. And it's actually from the elementary school. And we have this little library card from 2016 of people taking it out and like it's dated. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, I think this might be a better version of the book to keep without the very battered cover, but let me use the cover to tell you all about it. So Sydney has always felt invisible. She's grown accustomed to her brother Peyton being the focus of the family's attention and lately concern. Peyton is handsome and charismatic, but seems bent on self-destruction. Now, after a drunk driving accident that crippled a boy, Peyton's serving some serious jail time, and Sydney is on her own, questioning her place in the family and the world. So yeah, that is Saint Anything, and I will keep this slightly less beat up version of it on my shelves. I'm quite excited by it, to be honest. I've read a few Sarah Dessens and have really enjoyed them. We then have Life Unaware by Cole Gibson, and I won't lie, I picked this up because I saw it said young adult on the side, and then it turned into a brother's best friend or best friend's brother kind of romance. Reagan Flay is on the cusp of achieving her control freak mother's plan for high school success, cheerleading, student council, the honor society, until her life gets turned horribly upside down. Every bitchy text, every bitchy email, every lie, manipulation and insult she's ever said have been printed out and taped to all the lockers in school. The only person who even speaks to her is her former best friend's hot but socially miscreant brother, Nolan. Nolan thinks he knows what Reagan's going through, but what nobody knows is that Reagan isn't really Little Miss Perfect. In fact, she's barely holding it together under her mom's pressure. but the consequences of Reagan's fall from grace are only just the beginning. Once the chain reaction starts, no one will remain untouched. So to be honest, I saw the brother's best friend part and was like, I'm gonna give it a go, but it sounds quite interesting in its own right. We then have You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I have got a mixed relationship with these authors' work, but I wanted to give another one a go. These are all like domestic thrillers. A circle of friends with deadly intentions where trust is their weapon and revenge is their trigger. We'll leave it there. This is like a perfect copy. I think someone just donated this, to be quite honest, but yeah, it's great. We then have a booktube favourite, which is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is always one that I considered giving a go, but I said I'd only pick it up if I saw it very cheaply, so I didn't feel too bad if it wasn't my cup of tea, and getting it for literally less than 50p is the way we're going to do it. This is a adult sci-fi kind of book, which is terrifying, but apparently it's absolutely amazing, so I'm gonna give it a go. Then I found a book at the library sale that had been on my wish list for the longest time, and that is Little Do We Know by Tamara Island Stone. This is a YA contemporary that I've had on my wish list for the longest time, and I was just so happy to see it in the library sale, so I had to grab it. Then I found Sunburn by Laura Lipman, which since checking Goodreads, it doesn't have the best reviews, but I just saw this perfect condition hardback and thought I'd look into what it was about, and it sounded interesting to me. It's a psychological suspense novel about a pair of lovers with the best intentions and the worst luck. Two people locked in a passionate yet uncompromising game of cat and mouse, but instead of rules, this game has dark secrets, forbidden desires, inevitable betrayals, and cold-blooded murder. We've got a relationship and we've got murder. I was gonna grab it. Then we have two Book of the Month books that have been donated to the library. We first have A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCrate. This one was Book of the Month in May of 2020, and I hadn't heard of it. We're following Lizzie, who's working late at an elite law firm. She's married to Sam, her brilliant, devoted husband, but the cracks in her marriage had started to show. She was just good at averting her eyes. She gets a call from an inmate at Rikers, I don't know what that is, asking for help. His wife has been found dead at the bottom of the stairs in their Brooklyn brownstone, and he is the primary suspect. It just seems like a hell of a lot of things going on, but it sounded interesting, and to be honest, every book I saw that was Book of the Month, there were a few. I only picked up the ones that actually sounded interesting, but I couldn't leave it behind for like 50p. And last but not least, from the library sale, we have Outlawed by Anna North. I remember seeing this cover on like Book of the Month hauls when a lot of people were being sponsored by them. So this is a historical book about Ada, who joins up with the Wool Gang, a band of outlaws led by a preacher turned robber known to all as the Kid. The Kid is determined to create a safe haven for outcast women, but to make this dream a reality, the gang hatches a treacherous plan that may get them all killed. So yeah, this was Book of the Month in January of 2021. I remember seeing so many people holding it up, and when I saw the cover in the library sale, I just grabbed it. It was going to be mine. And then speaking of Book of the Month, I have 5 books here that I personally got from Book of the Month. I'm sure anybody who is not in the US will know that Book of the Month only delivers to the US, and it's very frustrating. So what I do is I have an account and I pause it every, like I think I delay it the most amount of time, which is about 3 months, and then it normally turns out that around that time is when I'm going to be heading back to the States pretty soon. So I make orders, collect them at Cole's house and bring them back. So I made 2 months orders and got 5 books. I normally struggle with the recent picks and just pick the thing that sounds the most interesting and then go back into like their older books to get my hands on things. So I don't know whether I'm doing Book of the Month correctly, but yeah, some of their recent picks have not sounded that great to me. Saying that, I did pick some that were dedicated for these months and I will hope I enjoy them, but I think it might be time to cancel my subscription. Have I just said that out loud? I think it is time. Okay, so the first book I got after that depressing moment is Margot's Got Money Troubles by Ruthie Thorpe. So this was one of the June 24 books. Apparently it is a bold, laugh out loud, funny and heartwarming story about one young woman's attempt to navigate adulthood, new motherhood and her meager bank account in our increasingly online world. So I believe she makes an OnlyFans. Yeah, it's a young woman who is struggling to afford life, and she makes an OnlyFans in order to cope with her money troubles as described on the front. I am thinking it's going to be funny and quite humorous, So that's the way I'm going with it. We will see. I've just seen some like chat transcripts here, so they could be quite funny if they're coming from OnlyFans. But yeah, I'm quite interested in giving this one a go. One of the books that I just had to get from Book of the Month, and I was excited that I grabbed it in a month it was available, is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. So I saw a lot of people reading this when it came out, a lot of people getting it from Book of the Month when it came out, so I just snatched it up. I had to order from whatever month I was in and then went back and added this book. It is a Norse-inspired fantasy romance. I'm quite intimidated by the fantasy part of this because I don't think it's going to be the most easily understandable, but I am excited to give it a go and I've heard amazing things. Next up we have A Talent for Murder by Peter Swanson, which was again a June 24 pick. I haven't read any Peter Swanson, but apparently he's a really popular author. A newlywed librarian begins to suspect the man she's married is a murderer. Is she married to a serial killer, or could it merely be a coincidence? So I am quite a fan of books where you think you know who the murderer is, but is it really them kind of deal. I thought I'd give it a go. It sounded quite interesting. We then have a pick from February of 2024, which is The Resort by Sarah Ox. I thought it sounded quite interesting, so I gave it a go. There are 3 rules to follow during a vacation at the famous Koh Sang Resort. 1, leave the past behind. 2, always be careful who you trust. And 3, if someone discovers who you really are, run. So that's all I read about this book. That's all I preempted and thought, no, it sounds interesting. It was a vacation to kill for. Let's give it a go. And last but not least, I picked a book which has been on my wish list for the longest time. I didn't realise it was a Book of the Month book, and I dug back into their recommendations. This was a 2016 Book of the Year. It won. It's got like a little embossed logo, and it is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. So I would have added this to my TBR back when I first started watching BookTube, and I was desperate to get my hands on a copy. I haven't really seen it anywhere, so seeing it on Book of the Month, I just grabbed it. All I'll read here is a beautiful and provocative love story between 2 unlikely people and the hard-won relationship that elevates them above the Midwestern meth lab backdrop of their lives. So we've got a relationship, we've got a meth lab. I think it sounds fantastic. I'm really excited to read this one. So there we have it, guys. Those are the, how many did I say? 18 books that I hauled in June. Let me know if you have any opinions on any of these books. I would love to talk to you about them in the comments. But for now, that's all I have time for. So thank you very, very much for watching this video. Really do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.